controller. So what I've done is I've hooked it up. This would normally actuate the door. I've got a little red light, so if I put the correct... Can you see that at the back? Is that lighting up for you? Yeah. So this is the correct door tag. I do that, light lights up. This is my other office door tag. Do that, nothing happens. So I'm going to try and reprogram this to pretend to be this. So to do that, I first need to get its ID and somewhere. Okay, this is a sort of cheapo, it's called a keyboard wedge, so it reads an RFID tag and it just spits out the number as if you'd typed it on the keyboard. So I'm going to whack that into a shell quickly. I just need to check it's configured for the right speed. Can you read that at the back? Okay. So what I'm going to use to program it is an off-the-shelf. This is actually a demonstration reader produced by a company called ACG. Generally they don't make end-user products. They make bits for systems integrators. But if you are sufficiently interesting to them, you're an integrator or you're producing software or whatever, they'll send you samples of these. So I emailed them saying, look, I'm doing this RFID open source library and millions of people use it and you'll sell thousands of bits of hardware. And they're like, okay, have one of these. So they sent me a couple to play with. After I published RFID, I got a very terse note saying, I got a very terse note saying, your activities are contrary to the interest of this company and we will no longer support you. So, apparently secure RFID is not on their agenda. But never mind, I can buy the bits now. I've got the manuals, I know how it all works, I don't need them. Screw 'em. So it's a compact flash card, I just whack it in a PCMCIA adapter. So if I now present this tag to my little keyboard wedge, it'll give me the ID. So that's the unique number of the tag. Okay, only one in the world at the moment. So sold under the brand name Unique, so I wrote a little program called Unique. Tell it I want to write it. It's waiting for a blank. Put the blank down. Do you want to write that? Yes. Done. So if I now hold that up, if I got it right, I should be in your building. I love it when a plan comes together. So yeah, you could palm that, walk past someone, stand next to them in an elevator, just get access to their keys for a couple of seconds. You've got the ID. They're owned. Okay, so the other demonstration I was going to do was cloning an animal tag. We use these a lot. I live in the countryside. We use them in farm animals and stuff. So I was going to bring my cow Daisy along, but she got stopped at Heathrow at the security desk. Something to do with fluids. I don't know what it was. They wouldn't let her in. So I've got my little mouse friend here, who I've brutally implanted with a tag in her place, sorry. If you give me a second, I have to set up for this as well. Okay, so this is a standard scanner you would find in a vet's surgery, whatever, for scanning animals. Incidentally, when I got this, I have a pet dog. And she had a tag implanted in the back of her neck. So when I got this, I thought, oh, I wonder, if hers is the same standard. I wonder what the tag number is. And I scanned it, and I couldn't find the damn thing. I thought, okay, it's not the right standard. And a bit later, when I was more confident that I knew what I was doing, I scanned her again, and I eventually found it, and it was here. Okay, so they put it in here. It's now just above her elbow. So if you're thinking you have one of these implanted, think carefully about where you start, okay, because these things travel. Could get uncomfortable. Okay. So I can whack this into a serial port so you can see what I'm doing. Just quickly. Okay, readable at the back? Yeah. Okay, so if I hold up my little friend and I press read, it pops up. So that's telling us it's an FDXB, country code 968, that's the unique ID. Okay. So just to show you I'm not cheating, if I scan this one as it stands, it'll come up with the code of the unique, also known as EM4102. So a completely different code. So I'm going to reprogram this tag to be the mouse's tag. Actually, I have to reset it. When I first started doing this, I pretty quickly, you know what it's like when you're playing with something new, some new hardware, and you start thinking you know what you're doing and you tweak it, you eventually break it and it stops working. So I very quickly got to a point where I not only couldn't clone tags anymore, but I couldn't get back into my own office building anymore. So that was a bit of a hurdle. And I then found, okay, I can obviously just buy some of these. So I bought 10 of them, and I started playing with those instead. And eventually I'd bricked all 10 of those as well. And I was on a train on a really long journey on a business trip. And I had plenty of time to play with this stuff, so I thought, okay, I'm going to really focus and fix this. And I did actually eventually come up with something which helped me out. So I wrote a program. And it works too. Okay, so that's now reset the card back to its original state, so I can reprogram it. But actually, again, we're going for same form factor. So I'm going to actually reprogram an implantable chip. So you've all seen the James Bond film, right, where they just put a thing around his wrist and press the button, and he goes ow in a kind of manly Bondy way, and he's got a chip in his arm. Doesn't work like that. They strap you down and they stick one of these bastards in you. So I have one in my wrist, which I'm now going to reprogram to be the mouse. So again, just to show you I'm not cheating. Reading. Wow, that's good. I killed something over there. Okay, so it's not reading, right? So what I'm going to do now is I have another program called FDXB 8000, because I'm going to be an animal. That's just the timeout. Do I need to scan my mouse again so I can see what I'm doing? So country code 968 and this guy here. Okay, I probably have to reset the one in my wrist. So if you go back to the screen, remember that number, 470-897, 8897. What do we do? Control A, clear. So if I now scan myself again, I am that mouse. Very good. Can you spot the difference? So finally, my wife is right, actually. Okay, so as we can see, that unique they are not, potentially. Verichip, I'm not going to actually demonstrate a Verichip because I don't have one that has the right attributes. When I asked if someone was implanted here, I was hoping that someone was. I guess DEF CON's probably a better place to look. But Verichip are using this standard, exactly the same standard. It's already well known in the industry that you can do this, so there were concerns about, how secure is that going to be if you can produce a chip with the same ID. So Verichip came up with a fantastic, brilliant scheme that will stop anyone from being able to clone their chips. This is a 3-digit country code, right? Verichip go up to 4. Ooh. So their code is a 4-digit code, and commercial software for producing these chips cannot enter 4-digit code, so you're all safe. Nothing to see here. My software, of course, doesn't give a damn. If I put in 1022, which is Verichip's code, it will program a tag to have that ID. Okay. They may have other mechanisms, I don't know. I'm quite keen. If anyone knows anyone who has a son or a daughter that's chipped, and they're going to DEF CON, please ask them to get in touch with me. I'd like to try it. I'm 99.9% recurring sure it's going to work fine. So the obvious threats from this kind of stuff. If you have an implanted chip, then you can obviously be tracked, and if you can be tracked, you can be targeted. You can be impersonated, as I've shown. I could change my implant to be your implant and go and spend your money on the beach. Not only the stuff in the hotel safe, but the stuff down at the billing system. So that's obviously bad. And actually, if you think about it, impersonating someone works both ways. I can impersonate someone to prove they were somewhere that they weren't. So if we were to start using these in like probation environments where somebody has to go and prove that they are, they haven't fled the country or whatever, I could take over their tag ID and go and present myself at the police station for them while they're up down the road robbing the bank or doing whatever they do. I don't know these people, they just give me money and I do stuff. So. And of course the other, if we want to use the T word, smart bombs that only go off when a certain type of person or a certain number of people have walked into the room. That's low frequency stuff. Before we move on to high frequency, do you want to do a quick question and answer session on this while it's still fresh in your minds? The chip in my wrist is a Q5, yeah. You can get high tags in that form factor, though, if you wanted. I'm lying. It's in my watch. Okay, I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy. It is one of the implant glass tags, but I've just sewn it into my watch strap, which is a lot less painful than the real thing. So, I did try with the real one. I didn't get very far. Yes, sir.